In week 3 of the PPL, your Cotswold Women's Cops were going up against JRicky and his Gigaton Hammers. You can see the matchup above my head. Really tricky game, this one, actually, and JRicky's a top player. We've had a lot of really good battles before. Going into this, the game plan was to try and break with Banded Tyranitar, AV Excadrill, and just kind of wear him down with my defensive core of Amoonguss, Gastrodon, and Skarmory. And then potentially, if we can, clean up with the Scarf Zapdos, or just outlast him with that defensive spine. Alright, so JRicky should be 2 minutes, so I don't know if we've got much time for story time, but we might fit some in. Joey, if for some reason you're live streaming this on the watch long, you can skip this part probably. Yeah, it's probably not that interesting. But for those of you that like the story times, a little story time before the battle starts. So, I don't know, there's been something on my mind a lot recently, which is kind of thinking about how much we really care what people think about us. And I just kind of wanted to talk about it while I was sat here anyway. I was like, do you know what? I might as well press start recording. Some of you enjoy these story times. And my mouse is just broken. That's great. Some of you enjoy these story times, so I'll just vent and sort of talk about what's on my mind. And I was kind of raised very much to be, don't care what anyone thinks about you, right? It doesn't matter. Have the clothes you want to have, the hair you want to have, the aesthetics you want to have, whatever. Do what you want to do, say what you want to say. Don't be inconsiderate necessarily, but don't worry. You know what I mean? I remember I bought this pair of ridiculous white trainers when I was 14. I was really self-conscious of them. I loved them. I thought they were fantastic, but I knew that everybody else would hate them. And a friend of mine's dad, who was a very stern, sort of Brexity English man who dressed very plain and everything. I remember him saying to me, if you like them, why do you care what anyone else thinks? And it kind of struck me because he was exactly the type of person that I thought would mock me for having them, for being a little bit eccentric or flamboyant or something. So that kind of really stuck with me as do you know what, if you like something, if you like playing Pokemon, you like playing Draft League, then why should you care what anybody else thinks of that? And yet, on that topic, I've never really told anyone in my real life that I do this. I have my Pokemon friends and I have my real life friends, and 1 or 2 know that I do this, but we're talking 1 or 2, not many at all. And I was kind of thinking about it the other day because someone was talking to me. I won't name names, but someone close was talking to me. And they were having to deal with someone in their life who, whenever they ask them to do something, so for example, let's say you're going out for dinner and you're going to a really nice restaurant where it's no trainers, no hoodies, you need to wear a shirt, shoes, things like that. And this person in my life was saying to me that they had someone with them and they were trying to say, you need to dress properly. And this other person was like, why? I don't care what anyone else thinks of me. Why do I need to put shoes on? I'm going to go in clothes that are unwashed with food stains down them or whatever. Why should I care? And then this other person was saying, well, because we can't go eat at this place, or I'm going to be embarrassed to be seen with you, or whatever. And the second person was like, well, that's a you problem, right? That's not a me problem. If I don't care how I look, if I don't care that I'm not dressed like that, if I don't care if I can't get into this restaurant and we go somewhere else, you're the one that cares. Why should I be bothered? And it kind of got me thinking about the limits of how much we worry about what other people think of us, because if you're completely just I don't care what anyone else thinks, so if you're not careful, you can become really self-centered, right? You can become, JRicky's ready. Story time cut slightly short, but I'll continue talking. Yeah, you can become kind of self-centered and selfish if you're not careful. If you really just live your life completely kind of without care of what anyone else thinks, what anyone else wants from you, what anyone else expects or demands, then by nature, naturally you'll become kind of self-centered. But then on the flip side, if you worry too much about what other people think, if you let them rule the way, and we're all victim to societal pressures, right? I dress in a gendered way because I've been brought up in a society that teaches me to do that. I'm not sat here in a dress because I would feel uncomfortable doing that because of the way that I've been raised, because of the way that society has kind of taught me things. So we all have certain, no matter how much we think we don't care, we've all been influenced. We're all under influences. But if we let them rule us too much, then we become kind of this feeling of being inauthentic, right? We don't really feel like we're our true selves. We feel like we're perhaps performing or playing a role that's being demanded of us. And it's where do you draw the line? I'm a big believer, I have this conversation with my dad sometimes, actually, about where we draw the line on things, and I'm a big believer that in society we all kind of draw lines where we communally agree. in terms of laws and whatever. So, for example, what ages is it okay to drink alcohol, right? Here in the UK, it's 18. Well, legally it's 18. Societally, 12, maybe? 9? Don't know. But, like, yeah, in America it's 21 because as a society we kind of communally, democratically, however you want to phrase it, agree on, like, this is it. But it's an arbitrary distinction, right? It's not real. There's nothing... You don't turn 21 and magically your liver just processes alcohol better. Same at 18. Like, there's a certain amount of growth and development you need to do. But it's not like a biological or scientific fact that at a certain age alcohol becomes morally okay, right? It's one that we draw together. Where am I going with this? What was the point I was making? Yeah, so anyways, so the point I'm making is that I feel like a lot of things we draw are kind of arbitrary and are kind of like, we just draw the line where we see right. And I'm really curious what you guys think about how much you should worry about what other people think about you. Where do you draw that line? Where do you find it? Because, for example, recently, what brought this to my consciousness was I manage a local football team, for those of you that don't know, and I'm trying to organise a friendly at the minute, and our football club has multiple teams within it. I'm just one manager of one of the multiple teams. But right now I'm trying to organise a friendly for 2 teams against each other. So I need to organise 22 minimum, but ideally 24 minimum guys. In an ideal world I'd have more like 28, but 24 minimum really guys. I need to organise them all. So this thing could Terra Fairy or Terra Steel, and that would be really bad. So I think my most sensible play here is just to U-turn. I should outspeed even if he's Scarf. We could find out his Terra type really early, and if he doesn't Terra, this should be good damage. Yeah, and I'm trying to organise these guys, and like, I'm the king of like forgetting to text back to people. I have ADHD, again, for those of you who don't know, like, I forget things. My object permanence is not there. You can message me, I can read it. We got him scared, boys. We got him scared, boys. He's terrified. Did I bring the wrong team? Is this the right league? Ah, I'm panicking. Alright, we're getting back into it. He didn't register all 6 Pokemon, so he had to run. He was supposed to lead off with Uxie, but I think he said he double-clicked it or something, so it ended up not registering properly. It was supposed to be his lead, and I think he unregistered it by accident, so he needed to restart. He probably messaged me that before the battle had begun, but I always close Discord once the battle begins because I don't want to get distracted by bullshit. So we'll just do the same leads and the same shit. Yeah, so I've been trying to organize this friendly game where I need to get a lot of guys, and there have been some people that I've texted like 3 times now this week because they've said at the start of this month, yeah, I'll be available for this game. So I text them, say like, hey, this confirms you're in the squad. We want you to play. Like, can you confirm that you're still available and that you'll be attending? No reply. So then I'll text them again. And I do this via text, not via WhatsApp, because I often have WhatsApps with these guys to, like, you know, maybe talk about the games, talk about whatever. So I text them separately so that they have a separate record, and it's very easy to find of all the details of where the match is, what time, and I have a separate record of their confirmation message. So I don't chat with them by text, I'll chat with them by WhatsApp, and I'll do the whatever. And so I sent 2 texts to some of these people being like, first one being like, hey, this is where the game is, this is the details, are you still good to play? I'm going to stick with the U-turn play. I still think that's the right play. I don't want to take excessive damage on that. That is Rocky Helmet, which I kind of expected, so that's good information. And I'm just going to go hard into Barney here and start wall breaking. We do have Choice Band Tyranitar in this matchup, which is super fun. So I probably said that in the intro already, but yeah, we'll just start trying wall break. And we do kind of bluff the Sand Rush drill, which is nice. Yeah, he just gets his rocks up, which is totally fair. Like, I was tempted to go drill to spin them away, but I don't really want to then take the foul play that will ensue, plus the Rocky Helmet chip from the spin. So, anyway, he didn't bring the... He didn't bring the Keldeo. That's what I was expecting for this. So, knock off, but then I have to switch into Harry Armor afterwards. But that's okay, because if he was like a Flame or Breaker set or something, I'd be able to get rid of that. So, if he has the U-turn, he probably wouldn't go for it anyway in case that's D-Dance weakness policy. So, I don't necessarily think it reveals anything that he didn't U-turn. Yeah, so I think getting this thing's item, if it's AV or something, so that's big damage. We reveal that with Choice Band, he probably figured, oh, he's Boots. That's super interesting. And we're able to just get a little bit of Sand Chips up. Nice. yeah, so I sent 2 text messages and then a third WhatsApp just to say, because I live in a really bad area with really bad signal. So then I'll send a WhatsApp afterwards just being like, hey, like, just want to check. So this, I don't want to lose my AV on Among Us, I don't think. So yeah, just want to check that you've got my messages, right? That they've come through, because I know my signal's not great. And then still no reply. And it's like frustrating because, like, as someone who does this voluntarily, right? No one's paying me to manage a local football team that I play in. Like, I'm one of the players in it as well. It's kind of frustrating when you commit so much of your time. I get forgetting to reply to 1 message, maybe forgetting to reply to 2, maybe not even receiving them. But after 3 messages, it's like, man, like, I'm giving up my time to organize this, and then you can't even reply. Like, especially people that you kind of see as teammates and friends. It's like, it's super frustrating when you're trying to organize things, and there are other players that could potentially play, but you can't have more than the amount of players you can fit on the pitch, right? So it's like, these guys might miss out because I've tried to ask you and you're not getting back to me and whatever. Like, so it's quite disheartening and quite frustrating. And at the same time, the world that I live in this kind of football world is that if these guys are good enough players, realistically, I think we'll outspeed. So I think I'm actually just going to Brave Bird here. I can potentially, yeah, as he goes for the taunt. We don't outspeed, but I figured he wouldn't let me just get a free roost off. Like, I was worried about, like, slow EQ, taunt wasn't really on my radar, to be fair, but I don't know. I didn't feel like I was going to get the roost off there, so I didn't go for it. And that's nice. Taking the KO is just nice. We can potentially roost this up later on Iron Treads and Meowscarada. And yeah, so the reality is that if these guys are good enough players, when the season starts, because we're in preseason right now doing friendlies, when the season starts, like, I want to say, look, you were useless during preseason, you weren't replying to me, like, I'm not going to pick you now. But the reality is, when game day 1 comes, if I don't pick that person, let's say the other 12, 13 lads in the squad, and this person's a good player, they're going to say, well, let's give them a random name, Dave. They're going to be like, where's Dave? I'm like, well, I didn't pick him because he didn't text back quick enough. And then if we go out and we lose that game 1-0, we draw that game 1-1, and Dave could have been the difference maker, it's frustrating because I've made the decision to remove that person because I found them to be frustrating or disrespectful or whatever word you want to use. But then the team has had to pay for that. This is quite a good play by him because I can't roost in front of this and I can't switch in really otherwise. But I do have a fully physically defensive Gastrodon that otherwise against his team isn't the strongest. So I think I am going to use it here. It doesn't have the best matchup otherwise, so it's okay, I think. So then I'm kind of letting the team down by removing that player, but I'm not really. It's their actions that have led to them being removed or dropped or whatever, right? So it's a bit of a weird, kind of frustrating situation. Oh, he just goes for the Iron Defense. Okay, well, luckily we are Earth Power, so I didn't see an Air Balloon. I really should have been paying attention for Air Balloon. That's scary. He might fear the Surf. Oh, I just have to do it because I don't have another move. So if he's Air Balloon, this is bad. This is really bad if he's Air Balloon. Kind of walled if he's Air Balloon. I need to check out for that later in the game. Let's see. Anyway, the point I was trying to make, we're going around in circles here, with these guys is like, I feel like sometimes the way the world is, without getting too kind of about it all, could Terra Poison here. I feel like a knockoff is fairly free. Obviously, Flower Trick is fairly free. I don't want to lose my Scarf on you for sure. Can I afford to Terra Poison with that thing being now? I know it's an Iron Defense set. Scarm's already knocked off, so I think I'm going to go to Scarm. And if he's Triple Axle, I might go down. But I think now's probably the time to try and get Scarm in to a point where it can roost. Hopefully this knockoff does just Triple Axle. Okay. Yeah. That was fairly free, to be fair. So he does just pick off the Scarm. That's okay. So if he's Scarf Triple Axel, it's really bad for you. I should have stayed in and terrored maybe. Can I see whether that's like banded or something from that damage? He took rocks, right? So we know he's not. 45 to 53 from choice banned. So I think he might be choice banned. I think he might be choice banned. If he is, everything else is going to drop. So I don't really have another switch but this. I kind of have to close combat in case he stays in, unfortunately, because he's not weak to the U-turn anymore. Yuxi will obviously chew it. I'm just thinking where I go from Yuxi. I probably go... Do I go back to T-Tar? Nah, I probably go Drill this next time if it's Yuxi. He didn't show U-turn last time, so it might be my chance to spin. Do I need Drill for anything else here? Not too bad. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to use my Terror really in this game, which is frustrating. Maybe Knockoff would have been better, but then if he stayed in, it's the same thing. Oh, this is fine. This is fine, because this is neutral. This is going to hurt. Yeah, that's good damage. That's good chip. We like chip here. I think now I do go hard Drill. Or do I just go get my own rocks up? My own rocks sound really good. I don't really want to get poisoned though. I'm going to go hard Drill. I'm worried about the foul play, but I'm going to go hard Drill. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I was kind of thinking about the whole football thing. I was thinking, well, the thing is, they can get away with me being frustrated with them, with me getting like a bad impression, especially new players I'm talking about here as well. Like we're talking about first impressions, about how much you care about people thinking about you and stuff like that. They don't have to worry if I'm getting really pissed off with them for all of this, because... So I think I just spin, because like they're good enough players that they can kind of bank on the fact that like I'll want to pick them regardless. And so it's this weird thing where it's like in life, is that the answer? Is that the answer to how much you care about what people think of you? Is, well, it depends how much you can get away with, right? It depends how powerful you are or whatever. Like maybe you can get away with you know, being a man that decides to wear dresses and make really bold fashion statements if you look like Harry Styles and you have the money and the influence of Harry Styles. But you know, if you're someone in the local small town that does it, maybe you have to worry more about what people think, because you know, you might get physically confronted in the street or berated or something like that. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, is the only reason we care about what people think of us the repercussions? I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, is it an internal thing where it's like, I worry what people think of me because, you know, I actually care what people think of me? Oh, I forgot you had the ghost. In my head, I was thinking this is pure grass. That was really poor by me. Or do we only worry what people think of us in so much as we worry about the effects of it, the repercussions, the punishment for if we don't care, and in which case, like, yeah, is it just a case of sort of privilege or whatever to not really give a shit? Is it a case of just power, of just saying, well, I don't need to care because I'm in a situation where there would be no repercussions for me? I don't know. It's a weird thought line, but I was just thinking about it at football. I was just thinking, like, because I was thinking, how is it not worrying these guys that their manager, they're just not texting their manager back? Like, I'm the person that picks the team come the start of the season. I'm the person who decides whether they play or not. I was thinking, like, how is this not bothering them that I might be forming a bad impression of them right now? Like, shouldn't they care about that? Maybe not. That's a really good double by him. I wish I'd got my stealth rocks up earlier. That's a really good double. Need to think about which sack is best for sacking something. I should have been concentrating more instead of just chatting away. I think it needs to be T-Tar. Even though T-Tar is like good in this matchup, I think getting the sand back up for passive damage is nice. It only really can come in that handily on Yuxi, which is probably not coming in too much right now. And yeah, Treads kills it. Quillfisher can come in on, but like it's not necessarily the best switching in the world. And yeah, we get 2 turns of Sand Chip out of this, which is kind of nice. Obviously, I can't make a pivot. If he somehow misses, we'll go for this. He could switch, fearing Scarf, but I don't think so. I think he's probably already seen that we're banded. So I think the most likely thing if he doesn't kill me is that he misses, which he doesn't, so the Iron Head would have been the best there, because it would have 100% killed and been 100% accurate. But that's fine. So this thing is a huge threat, man. Allowing him to kind of make that double and making that really passive spin play was a huge mistake. It just gets a KO every time it hits the field. So in terms of a numbers game now, I might be in a really tough spot because he has the sack lead and he can force me to sack every time he revenge kills. So I need to set up a sweep with this really ASAP. And that's going to be tough. I'm taking rocks. I'm taking Rocky Helmet if he goes out into the Yuxi again. But then I might be able to position a close combat sweep if he goes Yuxi. No, okay. A little bit of chip. Okay, Excadrill. I could Iron Head into the Sinistra. I could get up my own Stealth Rocks. If I'm trying to set up a close combat sweep at the end, Iron Heading into the Sinistra is probably more advantageous. I will still need to wear down Yuxi. But I think this gives me the better positioning. I want to spin, like I want to be greedy and spin. But in fairness, he doesn't have a good switch into the Iron Head. Like, he goes into Sinistra on the Iron Head, which blocks a spin anyway, or he goes Yuxi on the Iron Head and he gets Rocky Helmet chip off on me, but I probably then kill him with Earthquake afterwards. Or even 2 Iron Heads to stop the Sinistra switch on a potential spin. Like, it's just, it's not a great spot for him. And he can't really match a Gotcha very much back with Sinistra because I can go on Moongus. I guess he could Strength Sap, but again, I don't know how much Strength Sap's really going to take from a Moongus. The Sinistra can Terra, but it can only Terra Steel or Fairy, which Drill-I-Am absolutely wrecks. So I'm hoping we see the Sinistra, because I want to try and position that close combat sweep. I think that has to be my end game here. Yeah, okay. How much does this do? It's not very much. Do I have to go for flinches already? Am I at that point? I would take a hit, but he would just recover everything back if he's... It depends. Like, if he's Strength Sap, I'll all match a Gotcha. If I don't get the flinch, he recovers everything back, so... And if he burns, I'm just in a really tough spot. If he hits the double again... I just don't think he'll hit the double again, because I think he fears me going for the flinch. So I just don't think he'll hit the double again. If he hits the double again, though, like, fair play. He's playing out of his mind if he hits that, but... I don't think he will. I think he, but also then if he doubles, this thing gets chip. This thing doesn't get to recover off the chip, which could be nice later game. Yeah, so he just magic gotchas. This should get like no recovery, and he still can't go into the Meow because Sludge Bomb would kill it. He could go into the Treads. Do I want to try and do the Giga Drain to read the Treads coming in? Do I want to make the double to read the Treads coming in? Yeah, I could do. I could do Rocky, or I could do Don Gastro on some brave shit. Do I need to? Can I just Giga Drain and then go Gastro? But if he hits the double, I'm in another tough spot. No, because then I could Terror. think I'm going to Giga. Nah, because then I'm just predicting it anyway, and if I'm predicting it, I should go Gastro. I'll go Gastro. I'll go crazy. Let's go crazy. We should I don't think we'll ever see the cat. Yeah, so we see Treads. Do we see an Air Balloon? We don't see an Air Balloon. Okay, good, important information. So I want to get my Stealth Rocks up now, because like I say, I've got to try and just chip things down at this point. So yeah, I want to get my rocks up to get hazard pressure on his switches. I'm having to switch a lot, considering I got Spikes and Stealth Rock up against me, but as he just goes for the EQ. We're going to chew that. We can't block his spin, so I think we recover on the spin once. And then... Am I too locked in on the idea of a close combat sweep? Could I be looking for a Brave Bird sweep here instead? If I'd removed this, I nearly could, to be fair. He has to spin here, right? Surely. I'm just going to Earth Power. Yeah, I'm going to Earth Power. And then I'm going to recover. Because I could open up a different endgame for myself here. I still have to be wary of Terra Steel on the Sinistra. Hopefully it's Terra Fairy, which would help Brave Bird sweep. Oh, that's not good. Because now I will die with this. So do I need to keep this thing around? That's the question. Do I need to keep this thing around? He's +1 speed as well. That actually... Is that just a sweep? Amoonguss could maybe take one. I think that might just be a sweep, man. That might just have... I didn't even contemplate that when I clicked that. Yeah. Because he's faster than Zapdos, right? Probably. Depends on his speed creeps. So I am picking a sack here. Or do I just go hard gas? Do I go hard into you? Nah, because then what? He just Iron Heads and... Are you the sack? I think you have to be. Wish I'd recovered! Do we live this? Is there any world? Nah. Fuck me, I wish I'd recovered. I think my line made sense though. Because if I'd recovered there, he probably just switched out into like Uxie or something, and then I get nothing, right? I could get my rocks back up and play Patient, but this game, I don't know if I can play this game Patient. And like, am I supposed to predict the weakness policy? Like, if this drops to the +2 Earthquake, which it might, like I really don't know the calc, Whisper Death, so it might, then it's just a GG. I'm just gonna get swept 2 weeks in a row if that's the case, but I could have played this one better for sure. But sometimes you get caught off guard by something fire. Yeah, that's it. That's it, I've got no priority. Man, I need to make some trades with this team, I think. I'm struggling here. I'm struggling. I'm definitely going to need to look back on this game, see what I could have done different. I mean, I could have been more focused. I could have left the story time and been more focused, that's for sure. But, he actually outspeeds me, but misses with the Thunder, so he didn't have the Iron Head. That's kind of crazy. He's kind of crazy for that. What? Rapid Spin, Thunder, Iron Head. What was the last move? Knockoff? It must be Knockoff. Damn, right? He didn't show... No, Uxie with Stealth Rocks. Okay, we still might have a way. We still might have a way. But... I'm trying to think. The Brave Bird sweep. If he's Terra Fairy on Sinistra, I'm going to take so much recoil on everything though. I've got to take the rock still. I don't think I'll be able to do it because of the amount of recoil I'll have to take. Kind of wish I hadn't sacked Amoonguss now, but maybe I should have calced it, but I think it would depend on his spread, right? See, +2 Earthquake. Oh no, even Jolly just always guaranteed to kill my Mungus. Maybe I should have calced that then and gone for this first, but again, like, we're getting into, like, heavy prediction territory here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this, am I? Because it depends, actually. If he doesn't burn me... Well, he just strength saps. He just strength saps, always. Yeah, he just strength saps always, and then I've got to basically flinch him twice. Right. Iron defense. Okay, well, that'll do it too. Yeah, that'll do it. I just think there's too much recoil between Yuxi's Rocky Helmet and the Brave Bird recoil. I think there's just too much for me to get through here, so... Can this win? If it dodges the move from Meow. So do I go back into the bird here and try and close combat? And what, he goes Yuxi? If I dodge the thing... No, I think I just have to... I'm just trying to think, is there any way I win? Is there any way I win? It's probably flinches and crits, right? Yeah, I can't see another world, really, to be honest. That's so poor. That's so poor. Because if I go bird on this, I can Brave Bird him. Oh, I'm burnt now. There's literally nothing. That's it. Yeah, there's literally nothing I can do. Yeah, GG. Oh, man. GG to JRicky. I think I might make some trades. I haven't really been liking Houndstone, to be honest. I'll talk about that now while we're playing out these turns, because nothing's fucking happening. Houndstone's a weird one, man. Like, in my head, I thought we would play like Dracovish, where you just have this nuke button at all times. And if there's like an immunity, you can clearly kind of play around it by, say, making a double, by trapping, things like that. But then what I found, and admittedly I haven't brought the trap in, and we've only done 3 weeks, and I haven't brought Houndstone to this one. And Houndstone would have been pretty good here, to be fair, in this late game. Like, Scarf Houndstone would have been kind of nice. But, I don't know, maybe. But what I found is that, like, you're basically playing with 5 Pokemon for a lot of the game, because it doesn't, like, get strong until you're sacking things. Now, luckily, I've been sacking things left, right, and center recently, so that's not too much of a problem for me. But, and I wish I had Clear Smog and Mungus right now. If I'd gone into the Zapdos first and dodged the Thunder, we would have been in a much better spot. But anyway, yeah, it just doesn't play how I wanted it to, because it's so passive. Even once it gets up to 100 base power on the last respects after 1 sack, it's still not that strong, because it's not naturally, like, what's its natural attack? Like, I don't think its base stat is all that high. 101. So it's like, in this meta game, even after you get that, like, it doesn't really do a lot. So you kind of have to sack, like, 3 to 4 Pokemon before your Houndstone becomes good. And, like, it can do some support stuff earlier in the game, like Will-O-Wisp, Trick, Body Press, whatever. And again, Body Press doesn't get buffed by Fluffy, as far as I can tell from the calcs. It goes off the base stat, so the Body Press doesn't even go as crazy as you want it to. So it's like... could I knock off Sweep? Nah, not with Meow around. Yeah. As he does just Terror, probably Fairy anyway. So yeah, I'm not really sure about Houndstone. I might drop that. The idea I had was, like, I'd have this kind of, like, really nice Ghost spam offense with, like, Terror, Ghost, Typhlosion plus Houndstone. It'd be really hard switching on both. But Typhlosion is a low pointer for a reason. It's quite a hard mon to actually get on the field and make do stuff. It's weak to Stealth Rocks. It's quite slow. It's quite frail. In this metagame, it's quite slow anyway. So, GG to JRicky. Very, very well-deserved W. So yeah, the offensive core that I drafted, like, it's Houndstone's very passive until later in the game, I'm finding, for my playstyle. And Typhlosion's actually hard to get on the field for me. So what I'm finding this team is, like, relying on the defensive core. Like, we saw that week 1 against Nexus, I was able to win essentially with, like, semi-stall, really, between Skarmory, Gastrodon, and Amoonguss to an extent. And then, like, Zapdos Gala with the Scarf has been quite good. Like, even here, by turn... I don't know, by the time we were I was down to 4 mons or something, I was already, like, how do I position a Zapdos Gala Scarf Sweep? Which a Brave Bird Sweeper is always tough because of the recoil, right? Yes, it's not weak to rocks like other birds, but you're always taking recoil, rocky helmet, whatever. So it's always quite a tough one. And yeah, I just feel like my offensive win cons in this team are quite limited. Like Excadrill is a good one, but T-Tar is still a bad sand setter. Like I'm finding T-Tar to be really poor sand setter. Obviously, you guys have only seen the 3 games that you've seen, but I've done at least 1 mock for each of these games, usually 2 or 3 for each game with Eric. So, and just the building process, I'm finding it quite frustrating. And yeah, going 1 and 2 this early on, like, well, obviously you can only go 1 and 2 after 3 weeks. You can do it after 4, but you know what I mean. It doesn't feel good to go negative like this after 3 weeks. I think I might look at changes. I'm finding this team's just not really clicking with me. It's like there's 2 different teams here. There's like an offensive unit and there's a defensive unit, and they don't mesh that well. Maybe it's because I'm not bringing the Glumons that much, like Whimsicott and stuff, but I'm just, you know how some Pokemon get full moveslot syndrome? This team feels like it has 6 Pokemon syndrome. I feel like I need a 7th Mon in every matchup, which probably means that I didn't draft enough roll compression, or that I have ones that are too specialist at one thing. Like Skarmory, very good physical wall, kinda needs Gastrodon and Amoonguss to support it, and they all need each other. So that's kind of 3 slots taken up for that defensive spine. And then, you know, Houndstone and Excadrill don't really break for each other very well, and they both need T-Tar to really do their thing. So then before you know it, that's 6 Mons done. And then you've got Zapdos Gala, which is arguably the MVP right now, and that doesn't mix with any of them. So yeah, I'll stop rambling. I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna have a look at some trades. Maybe talk to Eric. Maybe try and figure some things out because I'm not quite happy with this. But if I do trades, I'll update you next week or maybe in an update video. Who knows? I'll leave it here anyway.